Hello, my loved ones. So, let me start by saying that this message comes with a sense of urgency today. And with that being said, yes, I did roll up out the bed, throw this little cardigan on and these shades, ran downstairs to this car so I can record this video. So I do not apologize for the way that I woke up. But the way that I woke up is what you're going to get today, okay? Boom. That's not what's important. But I did want to say that because I care about my aesthetic, I care about the way I present myself. But today, I do care a little bit more about the message, honestly speaking. I want to bless my little atmosphere here. Y'all excuse me, I've been on vocal rest, just body rest, everybody rest, all of them. Everybody rest. Y'all resting too? Look, because my friends, they resting. Like, we all trying to figure it out. And it's funny because I fuss so much at my people about understanding the need for rest and that balance, that work-play balance, spiritual balance, energetic balance, just balancing all of your beings. But sometimes when it comes down to it, for me, I felt like I didn't realize that this was really a call for me to just sit. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I thought I was sitting, but nah. God was like, baby, no. Have a seat. So, with that being said, when I do sit down, my body, tends to go through the release of whatever it is that I've picked up working, because again, I do music as well as the spiritual, life coaching, tarot reading, all of that. But just my everyday life, girl, I'm working. I work for the universe always. I work for God always, okay? And most of the time, the part of me that works the most, because it works subconsciously, is my empathic being, right? And so a lot of times we will, have those times and those moments where we take on things energetically and subconsciously that do not belong to us. And so our body has to get to the point where we release. So when your physical body is calling for that sense of rest or to sit down, or when my physical body, let me say, then usually there's always a release that comes along with it. So that's why my voice is sounding the way that it is now. But we still gonna get this message across, okay? The atmosphere has been blessed. We are protected as we give and receive these messages. My throat chakra is activated, healed, unblocked. Every chakra is activated, healed, and unblocked, okay? Boom. Let's get into it. So, hopefully you've been following along. You know my history. Come from the religious people, right? And so you also know that I am what is considered a black sheep, right? Meaning that I have pretty much been, by my so-called, relative, my bloodline is what I will refer to them as. So last night, before I went to sleep, and because I know that I've been, in this mode of like releasing and healing, I'm like, let's just go ahead and do a hard reset, right? So we got crystal medicine happening. We got natural remedies. I have a friend who is a herbalist. She has, all this going on for me. So it's just really just pulling out everything at once, right? So I'm like, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the mental part of it. Let's purge the mind. And so in the days leading up to this, and when there was kind of like this, because I just recently did 2 shows singing, and they went fairly well, but in the midst of doing those shows, there was like this energetic battle, like there was just this weird stuff just happening, okay? And this has been our narrative pretty much for the past few months, right? Especially coming out of that retrograde, lunar eclipse, sorry, I couldn't think of the word, lunar eclipse season. Things have been a little shaky, trying to, normalize and everything, right? So, boom, here we are. So last night I asked for, a dream to like just show me some things. Like I just need to I need some questions answered. I need to take me some places to visit some people. It was that type energy. And so the weird part about it is when I woke up today, I did not necessarily remember the dream, but it was like all of the answers that I sought, like wherever I went in my dream state, when I woke up, I had all of the answers. And so me being who I am, like I'm always gonna be a work smart, not hard person, right? So I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna let all of these thoughts overwhelm me, right? Because as soon as I opened my eyes, it was kind of like boom, thought. It started to try to go back to that place. And as I tell y'all and as I practice actively, we don't allow that to happen, okay? When we wake up, morning time, you snatch your energy together by meditation, stay away from your phone, even when it comes to like having dreams, because, right, that didn't have anything to necessarily do with an outside distraction, but there was just a lot that was received in the dream state. And my mind could not process it yet because I literally was just waking up. Like my physical body was just coming back to life, right? Even though my subconscious had been running all night long. So I was like, everybody hold on. Like one at a time. So I get up and then I start kind of like moving around a little bit. And I'm like, you know what? I still feel like this cloud of downloads that are here. But I can't make sense of it. But what I can say is that, at this time, right, this was like right before I walked out of the house to record this video, and what I was saying to myself in the house, and I'm like, what I can say at this time is that I know that whatever it is, it has something to do with like a soul contract to religion, which is like the home and the festering grounds for like oppressive energies and dark manipulative energies, dishonest energies, right? So I was like, okay. So when I got to that point, I thought about last week, I think, I spoke with a person that I knew from way back when. We knew each other through church, and there was something that happened to this person that was very, very embarrassing by way of my bloodline. And so for a couple months leading up to last week, I would have this pressing feeling. I would think about this individual and I would have this pressing feeling to just reach out to them and apologize for the sake of my bloodline, right? Because it's like, it ain't them, but I want you to understand that I did not forget that. And so with me not knowing then anything about my gifts for real, what I understand now is that the empath within me, never forgot that moment for that person, because when I was there, I experienced, I'm not saying that I felt what this person felt, by no means necessary. But what I did tap into was the sense of shame. Number one, because I'm an empath. Number two, because I was put under those same types of, circumstantial, what's the word I'm looking for? Ultimatum like situations, to where somebody was trying to bully me into doing something or changing something about who I was, what I wanted to do, fill in the blank. So it never left me. And when I say literally, this was probably like circa 2013, 14, something like that. And I'm not sure that anybody else thought about it like how I did, like how it haunted me. But I'm sure that if, somebody were to talk about it and be like, nobody forgot that moment. Because it was that, like, wow. So finally comes down to it, and instead of just thinking about it and letting it resonate in my mind, I make an effort to find this person. So get on Facebook, send a friend request, fingers crossed. And I'm really just like, I'm understanding how led I am to do this, and I'm knowing that God is going to line this person to accept my friend request, respond, like it's just going to happen, right? And which it did. So I literally voice note, got on the messenger and was like, I apologize. I apologize that it happened. I apologize that I sat there and let it happen. Because that was the biggest thing, right? If I'm a person that believes in a certain frequency, and I know then and now is so much different. We're talking about two different versions of me, right? But even then, everybody, including me, knew that that was wrong. And the fact that it was done in Jesus' name was what was always my complex, right? Even for myself, even for the way that I was brought up and the way that I was taught to do life, to understand life. There was always this weird complex because people wanted to use their God complex for control, but still try to paint it as though it's led by a deity of light. Let me say that, because it is led by a higher power. It really is. Because demonic forces are higher powers as well. They can be higher powers as well. Darkness is by no means weak. But when there's no balance and agreement of the light and dark, then yes, one is always going to be in this attempt to like destroy the other. Until we can have this like and finally come back to balance, right? So at that time, that religious factor was definitely not tied to the most high powers of light at all. And if you've ever overcome religion, and I have to say overcome it because it's a lot. But if you ever overcome it, then you understand what I'm saying very clearly. Now, I apologize to the person, and I'm very grateful that this person, like, their response to me was that they had healed, they had gotten it together with God. They stopped doing what they was doing because of that moment temporarily, but it put them in a place with God where they could really just, understand that they was the problem. The bloodline, my bloodline was the problem, and not what they were doing, not who they were. But of course, the person explains to me that it unlocked something in their life that I was apologizing and saying that in that moment. And I knew that because it unlocked something for me. Because the thing about me, I didn't have a choice that I was born the curse breaker of my bloodline and of my lineage. So that means in every way I have to face what was done. Even the things that I knew about, the things that I didn't know about. And I should even speak in present tense, because what I also saw was that things are still happening. things that have had longevity tied to darkness are still happening. Unfortunately. But it's getting ready to come to a demise very quickly. Actually, it's already in the process of coming to a demise. But for instances and things as such, and examples as such, there was this boldness and this audacity and the unmitigated gall, right? Like we like to say. And like I've been telling y'all, never apologize for who you are, what you need, how you need it, what it looks like. None of the above. Simply because of things as such. Because people will find any reason, y'all. People will even blame God, Jesus. Ascended masters who had nothing to do with the way that they move. Ascended masters who brought messages who were in no way, no shape, form, or fashion connected to the core beliefs of what these people do. But they want to attach it to it by sense of manipulation, so that you feel some sense of conviction or some sense of urgency to do something, because you don't want this damnation and you don't want this demise that's constantly being spoken on you. And I want y'all to think about this. If we believe that words have power, and the power of life and death is in the tongue, why is it that somebody who is so-called just so close to God always speaking about death, when the trueness, the true understanding of God is there's a balance in life and death? There is this eternalness, right? There is this infinity in the understanding of life and death. But why do people, you ever wonder, like, why do they always want to harp on the death part? Why is it if you don't think like them, if you don't do what they tell you to do, is death? So, again, I say, if you've overcome any of that, if you've taken the time to heal, to, from what the word spells and the prayers and some of the things that these people have put over your life, like knowingly and unknowingly, then you understand how heavy that was. You understand that we're a complex of life that it always kept you in, because you was battling with who they told you you were versus being who you were, who you are. And yeah, it may feel like a sport because we're taught how to like just be so codependent and, take a drug of choice to just numb it and move around and not face ourselves. But in all honesty, if you ever want to get to life and life more abundantly, you have no choice but to face this dark reality, right? And for a lot of this is going to be another side. This is a side note, right? Because I have another point for this video. But side note, for my tribe, a lot of y'all are curse breakers as well. And so that means you're going to have the same type of boldness. Like that's what I'm here to teach you. That, again, when you look at me and you say, oh my God, how are you so confident? Oh my God, how are you this? It took me looking at people in their spacesuit and being like, let me look at the energy you operating with though. And seeing how dark and grimy and ugly and just terrible it was by choice. That was the key part, right? Because we don't not overlook, but we don't judge anybody because of their dirt, right? But if you just living in the shit, bro, if you just out here, existing in it and not trying to transform it, not trying to grow, you're not helping us. And especially when you're trying to drag other people into it and get them dirty too. No, baby. So once I started seeing that, because they were showing it to me, like, that's the thing, like, you ain't got to dig for none of this. All you got to do is shift your perception sometimes to see what it is. And yes, it's going to hit you in your chest when you do. But understand, what's also going to hit you in your chest is when God begins to show you what your reality could be if you choose this or this or this or this, because the options are endless. It's not just a this or this type thing, no. But for you, however it fits in your life, God reveals that by showing you through the ugliest displays of control and manipulation and anger and thievery and lying and deceit and just pure jealousy and hatred. It shows you that there is this complex. And whether the people, the spacesuit, can actually even control the urges to do it because they're vibrating so low. And I told you, when people vibrate low like that, honey, they are easily manipulated by dark energy. So they don't know sometimes. They don't know how to stop. Excuse me. I'm so sorry, y'all. But your only job is to separate yourself from that. Take the way of escape that God has given you. Okay? But back to my point. So many people have had to fight their way out of that because of the strength of the words that were spoken over their lives. Those seeds that were sown into those people in those vulnerable moments. So for my bloodline, in this video, for me knowing that I am the curse breaker and I'm the one that's going to get it right. Period. And everybody in my bloodline knew that. And that was one of the things that was not revealed to me. But I'm the one that's going to get it right and has been getting it right. And for energies as bold as such, I counteract with the same boldness. And it's boldness for me because my bloodline stood in their boldness with their hierarchy and their rank behind them in their religion, right? So it was like they had the final say on a lot of things. And that was politically speaking, but what happened was people got so lost in the sauce somewhere that they started to feel as though they had that same power with people's gifts, right? So this video is for all of the people who were affected by my bloodline, and it's gonna reach you because it's for you. And I hope y'all share it. I hope y'all do whatever you need to do with it. Not even in no messy way. And honestly, nobody who's taking it for messy intent, you won't prevail with that, bro. Because this is not for that. But some of you guys have already talked to me and spoken to me about how the words of my bloodline have affected you negatively. Some of you guys have never spoken. Some of you guys, I've sensed it. Some of you guys, I have no idea who you are, but you know me. And this message is still going to resonate with you because you know my bloodline as well. And you were affected. I come on behalf of mine to apologize and amend and reverse all of those words that were spoken over you and your gifts that were absolutely given to you by God. I come to reverse those words and to speak life into every last one of those places within you that were damaged by the words of anybody attached to my bloodline. That comes from a very, very genuine place within my heart, within my soul, within my spirit, within my conscious, within my subconscious person. When I say that, I don't care what it was. I don't care how big, how small it may have been to you. I want you to understand that if it affected your growth, if it affected your confidence in any way, I apologize for that. And understand, God wants you to know that you are being avenged for that. And you will receive your good karma for the damage in which was done to you. And that's a promise. That is a promise. Nobody. And I pray that, because hear me out, y'all. Again, I can say these things because I was highly affected by it as well. The tables were turned on me. So this is a release even for myself in some weird paradigm. But at the same time, it really, my intent behind it is for the hearts of the people that I know were affected by this, because the empath within me just, I feel that, man. I feel that. And I understand how the power in which they infused what they said, the way that they used their God complex. It was very powerful. And they knew that. They knew that the words that they would say to people, the way that they said it, how they would say it, would stick with you. So again, for every place that they told you that you could not, you can. For every time they said that you won't, you will. For everything that they said that you were not good enough, you are. You are enough just as you are. For everything that they tried to tell you that God would condemn you for or frown upon you for, or just, baby, God loves you unconditionally. And once you understand that, and once you understand who you are, then you can begin to align with the convictions of your heart that are connected to God, not what somebody else is telling you is right or wrong about you. I apologize that these people ever displayed that type of power before you and attached it to, in Jesus' name, attached it to God in general. No. It was nothing of the sort. It was witchcraft, and it was control that was very, very much rooted in their own insecurities that they wanted to project onto other people that would listen to them. Because who would not listen to them was every generation before them. And that was the problem. But I'm not going to make that y'all problem today, okay? We'll talk about that in another video. But the point being for this one, again, is I apologize on behalf of mine. And I speak so much life into each and every person that was affected or tied to it in any way. May any words that are still resonating within your spirit that tells you that you cannot, that you are not enough, may they be reversed and filled with thoughts of self-confidence and self-love. May you recognize the God within you. May you recognize the power that lies within you. May you recognize that you are loved. You are loved however you come. You are loved however you come. And you are not a being that is meant to be controlled and manipulated. But you are a being that has a voice that is respected by God. Meaning that God hears you. God honors you. You are worthy to request whatever it is that you need from God. You should not dim your light in any way or feel like, oh, I'm so unworthy. No, absolutely not. I come against all of those words that were spoken against us in that way to keep us in this same under the thumb space of feeling like we are not enough, we are unworthy, we are constantly chasing this. That's not us. We are loved unconditionally. We are loved unconditionally. Just think about that. Unconditional, no conditions. God won't love me because that's a condition. Incorrect. You're still loved. But I'm not worth, that's a condition. Incorrect. You are still loved. I don't care what it is. You are loved however you are, whoever you are. And any words from my bloodline or any other person in your life that has spoken into that and sown into that space, no, may they be uprooted. Every part. And again, may that dirt be sifted in healthy ways, in loving energy, in nurturing energy, as we speak seeds of life, growth, evolution, power, love into that space. Okay? I love y'all. And again, share this. Because y'all know. And this the thing, like, and this is what I hated the most about religion. I'm so glad that I'm out of it, baby, because all this hiding and dipping and dodging and acting like we don't know. No, baby, be real. Be real. I respected all the people who had the boldness enough to even come to me to tell me their truth as far as what was done to them. And it's funny because I was usually always the person who would defend my family the most. My bloodline the most, not my family. Most of the fights I got in, I was fighting for my cousins and stuff like that. Like, I was taught that by my grandmother, and that stuck with me. And I thought that's what we all was doing, right? But there would be certain times where, you know, even I didn't know why I wasn't reacting when certain people would come to me and be like, you know, yo, so-and-so did this and said this. Like, God would just subliminally be telling me, like, just listen, like, just hear them out. And I'm like, okay. And so in that moment when they realized that they had that type of vulnerability with me, because yeah, I've not always been as open as I am now, but I've probably always been the most open out of, you get what I'm saying? So people had, to an extent, would come and be honest with me about a lot of stuff. Now that I think about it, like, they would just really come and tell me. And stuff that if I was in my regular, like, defensive mode mind, like I would smack you right now for talking about my, but they was being honest. And God was just subliminally like, chill, just to hear them out. And I would hear them, and I would really just, like, so for years, like, I kind of held on to and was, like, processing a lot of things that I knew that other people were dealing with from them, because of how ugly it was. And it was just like, for me, I guess for a long time, I didn't want to face the reality about it, to be like, okay, yeah, these same people that put on this perfect show now, because just from the outside looking in, you would never think, you would never know, unless you've encountered and felt how ugly and, like, dark it can, it can really get. And the only way you can really hit somebody like that is they gotta be in you. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's just different. But it was like, I know that if it affected my life in a certain way, just little, brief encounters, just little small statements, just little seeds to be like, oh yeah, I don't believe in you. Oh yeah, you can't do this, not without me. Oh, you're not good enough. Oh, you gotta meet my standards in order to. If that felt shitty to me, I know. You get what I'm saying? I know for y'all, it had to be the same thing. So I had to do this video. I'm sure over the next couple days or so, I'll still be kind of processing other downloads, and I may have more videos for y'all, But today's video, that was what I needed to say. That is what I needed to put out to, break that curse on my bloodline, and break that curse for a lot of you guys' bloodlines, because whatever it is, even though, you may not have been related to us, it was still strategic for you too. And I'm sure that my bloodline was not the only, entity that attacked that part of you. So this is like a collective, understanding right now. And I hope that you guys really receive that, and from the genuine place that it came from. So yeah, I love y'all. Stay true to who you are. If you don't learn nothing else from me, stay true to who you are. Even when people don't agree with it. Even when people cut you off for it. Even when people drag you for it. Stay true to who you are. Because that genuine space, that true space is always tied to God. That's how you are the image of God. We reflect God through our heart. And not how we've been taught to think, taught to love, but the trueness of how we gravitate and understand people and love people and help people. Okay? Stay true to that. Even when it's attacked. Okay? I love y'all. Have a great day.